Now we are going to start. For the mushrooms, like you should now wash them. If you have the dry ones, I think you need to like dip them into the water first. Uh, the first step we're going to do, if we have our mushroom, is to add water into our pot, like maybe enough to boil those mushrooms, and we're going to put the pot on. We're just going to first boil the waters. So now we have the time for processing our mushroom to make sure that we don't need like a time waiting for boil our water. So if we have a mushroom, we need to take its part off like this. And for this stem-ish thing, we don't need it for it this time, and we only need this top part of the mushroom. So I'm now going to only left this part of the mushroom. So if you have like dried mushroom, they usually take this off already, so you can just ignore this part. So if you finish this part, we are going to cut the mushrooms. Did everybody finish to take the stem-ish thing out? Uh, Now we are going to cut the mushrooms. For cutting the mushroom, one thing that we need to take care is that those mushrooms, they're really easy to be overcutted. So we're going to cut them. Uh, we're going to cut them carefully to make sure that they are not going to be, I don't know, cut into pieces, because I did that before, and then the mushroom, we just can't take it out. For cutting this, we're going to cut this grid like maybe 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter or even thinner. It didn't matter, but as long as if we have the grid cut it, then the mushroom is good. For me, I would recommend in the center of the mushroom, we have like little something to have our knife touched on it. Then it's good. Like we don't need to cut through it. 你帮我拿不舒服，再垫一下。我这个下面还得再稍微垫一下。是因为我前面。So a mushroom like cutting like this, it's good. This might take several minutes of doing so, so we're going to patiently cut all those mushrooms. If your child do not have the ability of cutting it, you can ask the assistance of your parents. I think most of us should be able to use a knife. So if everyone finished cutting their mushroom, can they please unmute and tell me that? Or like if you still need a minute or 2 minutes or so?
Yeah, I need a couple minutes. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to cut mine because they're so small, but um, but my sister is trying to cut them, and I'm pretty sure we're done.
Okay, then that's great. So, did Xiaoming Zhou finished? Then I think she still need a couple minutes for doing it.
So Lucy, you usually using the fresh shiitake, right?
Yeah, I used the fresh one. Like for the dry one, I think we first maybe you should first boil it for several minutes or dip it into water to make sure that it's fluffy.
I know, but I feel like after I cut, it's not pretty like yours. Actually, I feel.
I think it's okay. Like, the taste won't have too much effect. It only to see like if it looks like or not.
I'm done. Thank you. I'm done with the cutting. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. So maybe most of us has done the cutting, and the water that we pre-boiled should be just boiled. At least for mine, it's boiled. So I'm now going to dip all of my shiitake mushrooms into the water and boil it for 2 minutes. It is the first step of doing so. So I'm going to grab all of my mushrooms and then boil it and have a lid on it. Which looks like this. Maybe I should add a little more water to make sure that it covers my mushroom. Yeah, I think that's good. So I have my lid onto my mushrooms and wait it boil for 2 minutes. At the meantime, we can now start preparing the other part of our dishes. The first thing we're going to do is for this pan, we're going to add some oil into our pan. I think you can add pretty much a lot of oil into it because after boil the mushroom, the first step we're going to do is to fry them, which this will be a pretty dangerous process by having some wet mushrooms goes into hot oil. So we're not going to start heating the oils up first. I'm going to cut my ginger like slice it or maybe stripe it. It's all good as long as the ginger was, I don't know, pretty thin and uh, it's capable to be fried into the oil. So now I have sliced all of my gingers. I'm now going to put it into my oil and start to heating up my oil. For this step, the the purpose of putting ginger into it is trying to make it taste better because most people should love the taste of ginger. If you really hate it, it doesn't matter because the taste of ginger is not so strong, or you can just not adding gingers into the mushrooms. After that, when we are boiling our mushrooms and heating up all of our ginger and oil, we are going to mix up our ingredients. The first thing, this is for me, it's vegetarian stir fry sauce, or maybe you can have oyster sauce instead. Those two both okay. The purpose of it is because the thing we're making is like 鲍鱼. It's some sea product. We need to give it some taste, like it tastes like fish. This one is light soy sauce. The purpose of adding light soy sauce is to give it salty taste to make sure it tastes good. So I'm going to mix those two. This one is dark soy sauce. The purpose of having dark soy sauce is to going to add our mushrooms like a pretty brownish tone so it looks good for eating. So I'm going to add my dark soy sauce and a little bit of starch. The purpose for adding starch is so that after the ingredients was mixed and was cooked, it will taste pretty, uh, you know, uh, it will dense our uh, all of our spices. So I'm going to add maybe half of my starch here. I accidentally have too many starch. After that, before mixing it, we can add a little water into it. So make sure that everything can be mixed. for all of this sauce, I think it depends on how salty you want. So for this amount, it is like probably the max amount normal people will use to add into their dish. It's maybe too salty for, I don't know, most of us or some of us. So we can decide to add maybe half of it or three-quarter of it. It doesn't matter as long as this thing is added into our dish. Now my mushrooms should be good. So I am going to take out all of my mushrooms. In this process, it's better for having less water be left in our mushrooms because we're going to have a really dangerous process after that by taking all of our mushrooms be into a hot pan for frying it. It might be scary for some of us. Like it will cause really big noise and the oils will, I don't know, jumping around or like, so it might hurt you. If you are not comfortable of doing this, please let your parents do that. It's dangerous. So now I have all of our mushrooms. Can you please help me for holding this? Mm, those mushrooms. And now I am going to add my mushrooms into the pan, which it is pretty dangerous. In this process, I would recommend you to not having the highest fire level for that. After you add it into it, you can wait for several minutes and to make sure the mushroom is fried at one side. So after that, we're going to flip it over to make sure both sides are fried it. Now I am going to maybe wait for us to boil our mushrooms and maybe put them into the oil and fry them. So, just want to make sure, is everybody capable of now frying their mushrooms, or if they're still boiling their mushrooms?
I just heated the oil. I didn't fry the mushroom yet.
Okay, then it's good. Like
So, like
maybe,
after the boiling, do you need to wipe the water from the mushroom or no?
you probably don't need to wipe the water off the mushroom, but if you are really concerned about the like dangers of it, you can wipe them out.
Yeah, because just get from the water. I feel a lot of water in the bowl.
Yeah, so which a way for safely adding the mushroom is what I recommended to stop firing like before adding it, maybe 10 or 15 seconds. So after that, when you add the mushrooms, just like what I did, the oil is not as heat as like being fried the whole time, so it will not cause the huge explosion.
Okay.
So if there are any question, just feel free to ask.
小朋友好可爱。So the mushroom you just stir one side, or you want to turn over? I don't know, like how soon you will turn over the both sides. I feel.
I only cut one side of my mushroom because for me, cutting both sides may cause the mushroom to break.
Oh, okay.
So
No,
one
okay,
side is okay.
now when you fry it, it's just a one side fry. Or...
For frying it, we will first fry one side, and after it's maybe a little yellow or orangish color, we're going to flip it around. So, but this time can be adjusted by like how much fire you are using for frying these mushrooms. It, the I would say the only thing for frying it is to make the mushroom taste like more more denser, or to have
like the meat, the texture.
yeah, the
You
meatish
want the
taste of
texture.
it,
Yeah.
because the mushroom is already boiled, so it's okay for not frying it too long. It doesn't matter. Yeah, now I can see the mushroom that is fried. It's good, like really great. Uh, The thing is, maybe you can add a little bit more oil into it, because like we're going to pour those some oils off after we fry this. So having more oil maybe can make it fry more easier, or if you don't want, then it's good. For like frying it, if you're like heating it maybe to the fullest power, maybe we only need like 1 or 2 minutes for doing so, because I am also waiting, so I'm not. I might take maybe longer for heating, for frying my mushroom. It's okay. Like you don't need to fry this long. If you're frying this long, it might be like carbon-ish, and it doesn't taste good anymore. We can see that maybe off the front side of this mushroom, it looks a little yellowish or maybe orange-ish. Then it's the sign of we can probably flip it, or we can also keep it up maybe for 30 seconds, uh, or a minute or so, to make sure that it is uh, just be adjusted at how much you want. For the backside, we can see that, at least for mine, the middle of my mushroom, because it's pretty light, I can see there is an orange-ish color be dressed on the center of my mushroom. So I can now flip side of my mushrooms. It should be good like that. for flipping it, I would recommend for you to turn lower heat or maybe even stop heating the oil because maybe your chopstick or other like, things you are using to flip contains water, then it might cause like a spark. Like, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, it might cause oil to be splashing and indeed hurt anybody. Like that's not a good sign for it. So I now flip the side of my mushroom. I can see that if the other side also cooks like this, then it's good for us to stop frying and maybe like for the process of two sides be done. We might wait like 1 or 2 minutes or so for doing it. So if you finish frying the mushroom, you can just maybe say something in the chat or unmute yourself and tell me that you're done.
We're done frying.
Yeah, then that's great.
锅里面，我想问一下，锅里面都是油吗？
差不多就是可以多加一点油。我这里是差不多加到蘑菇的1/2到1/3。
哦，所以都是油。
对的。
好，好，谢谢。
So if
估计是不是炸的有香味儿出来就差不多了？
差不多两面稍微有点黄或者有点焦就可以了。
OK。
如果大家都煎完了的话，the next step is for me, I add a lot of oil for frying. I'm going to pour out some oil to make sure that it's not too greasy for eating.
Yeah.
就是都煎完之后，大家可以适当的倒出一些油来，因为我煎它加了比较多的油，然后这样子我们就可以下一步了。After that, it is like the last step of this dish. Before doing that, we're going to flip all of our mushrooms. Like, let me see. We are going to like put all of our mushrooms the white side up to make sure that we're going to have our last process. 就是在把油倒出来之后，可以把所有的蘑菇都翻一个面，让接过的那一面朝上，这样子我们等一下就可以进行收汁了。 So if everyone is done, we're going to do the next process. The next process is to add this spices that we just mixed with vegetable stir-fry sauce, light soy sauce, and dark soy sauce with some starch and probably water. We're going to pour it into our dish. Maybe like try to pour half or 3/4 of it, because pouring all of them might cause this dish to be too salty. And maybe like according to how much it looks like, we can add some additional water into it. So it should be look like this. For the next 2 minutes or so, we will see the ingredients, no, like this. Wait, how do you say that? The seasoning are boiling. We're going to make sure that it's pretty thick. Then we can just take them out. For doing that, if you want it to be thicker, you can add more starch into it, and it will also cause our uh, seasonings to be less salty, which it's a good way for doing that. 就是最后一步在收汁的时候，刚才加的料可能会对有些人来说太咸了，可以考虑少加一些或者多加一些淀粉。但是淀粉在加的时候，一定要在锅比较冷的情况下加，不然它会结块。在最后收完汁之后，我们就可以进行出锅了。In this process, you can maybe stir it a little bit and wait for them to be dense, or you can just keep them in where they are. It's both good. Like if you want to show that we're doing something, like we can just start turning it around and making sure that every one of them was dipped into the sauce. Yeah, I can see that you take all of your mushrooms out. So are you now going to like, yeah, it's good. It's fried pretty good. So you're done, right? Yeah, so after you're done, can you please like take a picture or so and send it into like 小大师俱乐部群? Like take a picture of the product, so it will be great. I think mine also done, so I'm also going to take it out and to have this. So for Aiden, like, are you clear about what you're going to do?
Hold on，我在装盘呢，一会儿发个照片给你。
以后我肯定会常常做，谢谢，
好好，谢谢谢谢 follow，
谢谢你们，
看得见我的吗？
再见，拜拜，
拜
拜拜，谢谢。
张老师，呀，非常好。
我也分享一下我做的。
等一下啊，等一下，我来给你拍一张照片，或者你。
我等下拍张照片吧，这个都要溢出来了。